Welcome to Brain Lady Speaks with Julie Anderson on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network. Julie Brain Lady Anderson is considered to be one of the nation's top experts on the brain-personality connection. She has been inspiring her audiences to fire up their brains and ignite positive changes in their relationships. And now she is here to bring that knowledge to you. The information she shares will help those who hear it to accelerate their success in life and business through the discovery of their natural gifts and maximizing their brain power. When you learn to tap into the potential of your natural gifts and the power of the brain-mind connection, there is no limit to what you can accomplish. Today and every Wednesday on Brain Lady Speaks, you'll explore the latest findings to see how they have practical application in your life. And now, get ready to join Julie Anderson on Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network. Take it away, Julie.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you on this amazingly beautiful Wednesday on May 11th, 2016? I am so happy to have everyone joining me today, and I am so stoked about this show today that we've got going on here. I am Julie Anderson, also known as the Brain Lady, and you are listening to the Brain Lady Speaks radio show. So thank you for taking the time to spend with me this morning and my guest. As I said, I am so excited about the show today. We had a nice conversation, my guest and I, yesterday, and the more we talked, the more excited I got about having her on the program. And I have no doubt that you are going to be just as excited and just as intrigued and blown away by what is taking place in her field as we go through the show. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone to keep in contact with me, connect with me on all of the different networks. The web is so amazing now, and we can stay connected in so many different ways. So follow me on Facebook. The Purple Brain Lady is what it is. So Julie Anderson, Purple Brain Lady, that's my public page, and I post, of course, information on the show on that page, as well as a lot of interesting information about the brain and how to maximize your brain power, how to utilize all of this amazing information coming out of the field of neuroscience to help us live healthier, happier lives, businesses, and relationships. So connect with me there. You can follow me on Twitter at Brain Lady. And of course, LinkedIn, I'm also Brain Lady Julie. And you can always email me if you have questions about the show. If there was information that you'd just like a little bit more details on, my assistants and I'll try to sort through all of the emails and get back to everyone. So you can email me at info at brainladyspeaker.com. That's Brain Lady Speaker. And that's a good way for you to send me information or if you have a good idea for a guest. As you're listening to these shows, you're getting a good feel of the type of individuals that I have and the topics that I cover. So if you have met a dynamic individual and you think they'd be a good fit for the program, then of course, contact me and let me know. Send me those ideas. And you can also do that on Facebook or any of the social media outlets. So with all that housekeeping taken care of, we are going to get right down to our guest today, because we realized in our conversation yesterday, her name is Tara McConnell, and we realized as we were talking that there is way too much information that we are going to we're not going to get it all covered today. So we are going to have to entertain the idea of having her back. But to kind of lay the groundwork, a couple of weeks ago, I did a program on music in the brain, and I talked about how our brains are naturally wired to not just enjoy music, but that we can be affected in very positive ways by listening to the right types of music. And they're finding through research that the brain learns better when certain music is playing, that it can help lift our psychological moods. And that brought me, I barely touched on the topic of music therapy. And that is the definition of this. I'm going to go ahead and read this before I have my guest come on. Music therapy is the use of music experiences to address non-musical treatment goals, such as emotional expression, relaxation, movement, communication, and cognition. Songwriting and improvisation, singing, instrument playing, music listening, and analysis are used in a clinical setting to address therapeutic objectives. Board certified music therapists are members of the clinical and educational interdisciplinary team and referred to treatment basis based on referrals from nurses, child life specialists, educators, or caregivers for specific treatment needs. So that is the technical definition, but you will get a really good feel of the field and the wonderful individuals who are spearheading this with my guest today, Tara McConnell. Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now,
Pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. Like I said, I am so excited about having you here. And as I was reading over some of the additional research that's being done in this field this morning to prep for the show, I'm so excited. The brain is fascinating, and the work that we're able to do based on this information is great. Now, let me read your bio. And then we'll start and we'll ask you a few questions. It says Tara McConnell, MTBC. You'll have to explain what that is in a minute. Is a Sacramento native and a graduate of the University of the Pacific, is a board certified music therapist and owner of McConnell Music Therapy Services based in Auburn, California. MMTS, I'm assuming that is
McConnell Music Therapy.
McConnell Music Therapy Services. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
a music therapy agency that provides services to clients within the greater Sacramento, Placer County, and Grass Valley areas in the home, school, or a hospital setting. Tara brings 21 years of clinical experience working with people with autism, mental health, and physical impairments, developmental disabilities, and neurological disorders. Tara and her staff of 4 musical therapists provide musical therapy to patients in the acute, medical, and psychiatric hospital setting, IEP-based services to students in local school districts, services to group homes and pediatric skilled nursing facilities, as well as private clients of all ages. McConnell Music Therapy Services is the contracted provider for services for the Sutter Medical Center in Sacramento. Wow. You've done a lot in the last 21 years.
I'm tired just reading it.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. So, Tara, let's just kind of start out with what got you started in this. This is obviously 21 years ago. I mean, it's an emerging field right now, but it was really in its infant stage a couple of decades ago. So what attracted you to it? What got you started in this field?
Well, first and foremost, I want to have a big shout out to my mom, because she kept me in piano lessons at 8 years old when I wanted to quit, and I started as a young musician wanting to, I never really liked performing per se. I saw the value in the smiles that the audience had. I saw the outcomes, that's a clinical word, but I saw the results of how it made people feel, how it made me feel, even as a young child. And so that's really what started my journey in music, first and foremost. And throughout high school, I played instruments. I'm a bass player. I played percussion. And I really, honestly, when I went to college, it was, 1991 or so, quite a while ago, and 25 years ago. Holy cow. And really, I wanted to be a psychology major, to be totally honest. I saw the value in therapy and learning more about the brain. And I really wanted to play music, and I couldn't really decide. And so I went to University of the Pacific, knowing they had a music therapy program, knowing they had a psychology program. And at the last minute, I made my choice to music therapy. And my very first moment of my very first class at 18 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And so that moving forward, it's been this incredible journey. I have learned more from my clients, I feel, than I have taught them. I've learned so much about how music really shapes our lives, our thoughts, our emotions, our experiences. even our bodies. So it's been quite a journey, and it continues to be. It's been a very exciting time in music therapy as a profession now in 2016. It was very new back in the early 90s. It was. People were always saying, "You're majoring in what? Like, what is that?" And honestly, really, the program at University of the Pacific was started in the 1950s. The field of music therapy began after World War II, when musicians that would visit the soldiers after the war realized the influence that they had, and they realized they need more training. This requires further exploration. And so that was essentially the birthplace of the profession, University of the Pacific, and then University of Michigan. And so those programs, Kansas, all these programs, Florida State, have been around for decades and have really contributed to the amount of research we have today. So those early pioneers really set the groundwork for what we have today by just taking notice of what was happening, not settling for just having the band or the orchestra play for the soldiers, but oh my gosh, this is something bigger, and we need to investigate it more. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I had no idea it'd been around for that long, because this was predating these brain scans, because a lot of the information I bring in is based on all of these very technical brain scans. But back in the 1950s, they didn't have that available. But obviously they noticed, psychologically, that it was having a very positive influence. Well, we have so much to cover. I'm sure there's so much information. I want to hear more about really what the different, who you're working with, who are the people who are benefiting from this therapy, how does it work, all of that kind of stuff, because the information I've been reading is amazing. So join me back after the break on the Brain Lady Speaks radio show for some more amazing information on music therapy and the brain.
With her thorough understanding of brain chemistry, Julie Anderson provides you with tools and processes that will change your life in a positive way. Julie uniquely blends science and psychology when she shares her knowledge and information with businesses, entrepreneurs, women's groups, and families to improve workplace morale and productivity, parents creating dynamic relationships with their children, and women achieving more in life and business. Julie Anderson will be right back with Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network.
Imagine what your life would be like if you could master the thoughts in your head that hold you back, the thoughts that prevent you from living the very best version of the life you're here to live, the very best business that you're here to create. I'd like to invite you to join the Art of Personal Mastery, the free online event that starts the 11th of April. All you have to do to join is to go to www.theartofpersonalmastery.com, enter your name, your email, click Get Access, and I'll share with you how to join me and 21 leading experts from around the world talking about how to break your bad habits, create powerful new ones, master your mindset and your actions to create the life you're here to live. I'll see you there. www.theartofpersonalmastery.com. I'll see you soon.
Welcome back to Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network. By including the latest scientific research on the brain-personality connection, Julie Brain Lady Anderson provides her clients with the all-important why behind what people do and how they think. The information she shares will help those who hear to accelerate their success in life and business through the discovery of their natural gifts and maximizing their brain power. Here again is your host, Julie Anderson, with Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. All right. So we got started with this whole, the topic of music and the brain, subtopic, the music therapy, and how the background of it. It was great. Tara, I've got my guest here, Tara McConnell, and she shared with us the kind of the past, but now take us into, if you will, what is all involved in becoming a music therapist? What's some of the training? What's some of that technical background? Because it's obviously, if it takes a degree, it's more than just weekend classes. There's a lot more to that. So kind of take us through that, if you will. What does it take? What's the education part of it like?
Well, first and foremost, if you're looking to become a music therapist, you need to be a trained musician. We're all have auditions for music majors, so we have skills in various instruments, first and foremost. The music performance piece is important. You have to sound good. And then...
Oh, that leaves me out. No.
And really competency by the time you graduate in voice, percussion, piano, and guitar, in addition to whatever your principal instrument is. Mine was string bass. So I needed to learn guitar in college, but it was great. And then, it's a minimum of a bachelor's degree. There are master's degree programs and doctoral programs. Then after graduation, there's a 1,200-hour clinical internship that's required in an educational or clinical medical setting. And then the Certification Board for Music Therapists offers a board certification exam. And that's like a final exam for any other allied health profession and requires 100 continuing education units every 5 years. So music therapists are definitely well trained. There's a priority on remaining aware of current practice, hence the continuing education requirement. And really, there's really a big difference between somebody who is a board-certified music therapist and maybe, Aunt Susie who comes and performs at the hospital. There's just a difference in the focus. And the training.
Yeah, I think that's important. You mentioned that to me yesterday, and I think that's really important for the listeners to understand, is we are talking about a clinical treatment or a clinical process that is a part of ongoing medical therapy. So it's not something, woo-woo-ish, if you will. Mm-hmm. It has, very specific scientific background to it. And even though it started before these scans, now they're able to look at it and really show the effect that it has on calming the brain or activating the brain, depending on what your goals are.
Right.
And that's going to depend on what treatment you will do with the patients, correct? I mean, it's going to depend on what their needs are.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of common assumptions that are made about the profession, which I joke about. There's a lot of assumptions that we come in and we just play music for patients, or we make everybody feel good all the time, or it's always happy. And really, music therapy is not always nice. It's not always soft and calm. It can be loud and chaotic. It involves an interactive component. And that's really important to understand, is that music therapists are referred for various issues: anxiety, depression, different communication disorders, cognitive disorders, motor issues, social. And the music therapist then is trained to use singing, instrument playing, songwriting, song-lyric analysis, to really meet that patient or client where they are first. And it involves what's called the ISO principle, and that is something we use that basically is just that. You meet the person where they are. If you have a child with autism or somebody who's really angry, or, and there's a lot of movement, a lot of inattention, maybe loud vocal behaviors or something like that, music therapists will stand up, use drums, imitate the client through the drumming and connect with drumming first to regulate their sensory system and to create a safe space. There are many different clients that we work with, many different referrals that we get. My agency, we work, like you mentioned before, in the general hospital with adult cancer patients. We work in the pediatric cancer center and pediatric med-surg centers at Sutter Health in Sacramento, and also the inpatient psychiatric hospital, and with all ages. And really the goals are, we're referred to patients for pain management, increasing communication, increasing coping skills. You know, I really like to think of our all different settings. You know, we talk a lot about, okay, autism or Parkinson's or cancer or special education or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's mental health that we're addressing. All of those settings, we want people to be successful. We want people to feel better and have a way to express themselves, give them alternative options for dealing with whatever is addressing them. And anxiety and depression are pervasive in our society right now, whether you are a parent of a child with autism, or you're in the hospital with cancer, or you have Parkinson's, or you're a victim of abuse or trauma. It's anxiety and depression that is really pervasive. And I kind of think, I know, that having music and music experience as an option is invaluable to these hospital systems. And it's interesting because now education systems, hospital systems, healthcare systems are starting to realize the value in having a music therapy program with board-certified music therapists. It is really something that increases the quality of life of their patients, their students. We produce outcomes pretty quickly because of the way music affects the brain. But getting back to interactive, it's not us listening and just playing for patients. It's a give and take. We play instruments back and forth. We share drums. We sing with patients, or we can definitely just play for them too, if that's what's needed. But it is a very interactive therapy, and then we do evaluate that therapy for its effectiveness and relate to the interdisciplinary team. So
that's awesome. No, it's so cool because you're basically the treatment application is so broad with this. You're able to help from before you're supposed to be born with the premature babies,
right,
all the way up to individuals who are in that last chapter of their life to make that more higher quality, better quality of life at that stage. And I love what you say that it's so specific to each patient, and that it's not just this you going in and entertaining. It's literally helping to engage their brain and deal with the depression and anxiety, which we know, as I mentioned, on the show a couple weeks ago, our brains are wired for music, and it can definitely move the emotions. And that's, if you can use it in a positive light, that's so amazing. It's so amazing. Now, you had mentioned when we were talking yesterday that let me see here, at the Sutter Medical Center in Sacramento, the music therapy services that you have there, that's only like one of a very few in the U.S. Is that correct?
Well, there are many hospitals across the country that have music therapy programs and many clinical internship sites in the hospitals. We are very fortunate, though, here in Sacramento to be one of two, soon to be three, Sophie's Place music therapy studio spaces for music therapy treatment inside the hospital. Sutter Health and Sutter Medical Center Foundation generously received a gift from the Forever Young Foundation, which is was started by Steve and Barb Young from the 49ers. And he and his wife have been exceedingly generous in seeing the value of music therapy based on their own experience with a family friend who was in a coma, but then also these spaces are named Sophie's Place in memory of a young girl, Sophie Barton, who used to volunteer at the Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City. She was a beautiful young 17-year-old girl, wanted to be a music therapist, would show up and write and sing and write music for the patients there in high school. And it was her vision to be a music therapist. And sadly, she did pass away about 5 years ago. And her family was friends with the Youngs, and they created these spaces called Sophie's Place. And we are so lucky to have one right here in Sacramento. It is a 600 square foot space with a recording studio where we can record the music that the patients write, a clinic, a one-on-one treatment space with a piano, and a huge group room area for all kinds of things, from daily music therapy groups for children to play music, to express themselves, to connect with others, and family members to connect with other families. And then that space also will be used for teen groups. And it just literally opened a couple weeks ago. So we're just getting it up and started. But I'm so totally blessed to work with my employees. Daniel Bastida and Hannah Cho are the music therapists I have working there, and they're just phenomenal.
Awesome.
Hannah also works in the NICU there at Sutter Children's Center, and she is specially trained in NICU music therapy.
Awesome. I'm going to hold that thought, Tara, because we are running into a commercial break. I really want to talk about the preemies, so let's come back to that after tunes.
With her thorough understanding of brain chemistry, Julie Anderson provides you with tools and processes that will change your life in a positive way. Julie uniquely blends science and psychology when she shares her knowledge and information with businesses, entrepreneurs, women's groups, and families to improve workplace morale and productivity, parents creating dynamic relationships with their children, and women achieving more in life and business. Julie Anderson will be right back with Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors. All quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us because we know that quilting changes everything.
If you're ready for a big change in your work, your career, your happiness, your life, it's time for the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Marla believes that with the right mindset, anything is possible. Join us as successful life coach Marla Tabaka inspires you and her clients to explore, discover, and live your dreams by developing what she calls the $1 Million Mindset. Marla will inspire you to take action on your dreams and reveal secrets to success that will help you realize your own unique power. Tune into the $1 Million Mindset for heartwarming stories with Marla Tabaka. Learn tips and tricks to building a successful business and unlock the secrets to creating a happier, more balanced life through abundant thinking and attraction power. For more information on the $1 Million Mindset, go to our website, marlatabaka.com. That's MarlaTabaka.com. It's the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
Welcome back to Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network. By including the latest scientific research on the brain-personality connection, Julie Brain Lady Anderson provides her clients with the all-important why behind what people do and how they think. The information she shares will help those who hear to accelerate their success in life and business through the discovery of their natural gifts and maximizing their brain power. Here again is your host, Julie Anderson, with Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network.
Welcome back. Boy, this show is just flying by. We are at the halfway point. So, Tara, let's just go back to where we were at before the show, and then you can expand on that. What is the benefit to the patients physically, like when you're working with those preemies? Because this is a topic. My middle boy was in the NICU for eight days, and it was kind of touch and go. We didn't do music therapy at the time, but I really want to know what is happening physiologically. What's happening for the patients? Start with the preemies, and then kind of take us through the different things that are happening with your different what's the word? Different patient groups. Can you do that for us?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So we work in a variety of settings. Specifically in the hospital, in the NICU, the music therapist specializes in NICU music therapy to be, first of all, in that setting. And what we're looking at is using music and live music in particular. We're looking at guitar music right near the isolette in a lot of cases, but using music at a very slow, even pace that teaches the mom, a lot of times, mom and dad, how to really observe signs of stress with the babies. And one of the things that's noticed immediately is the decreased heart rate and the increased oxygen saturation levels. Those are really huge in creating a stable environment for that baby. The research has shown increase in intake, so their eating, their suck response is faster, and there's decreased length of stay. So if you've ever been around a NICU, those are very, very important things. Also, it provides support to the family that is not really common, in the sense that the music therapist is there and a lot of times can teach the family lullabies, different ways to connect emotionally to create that parental bonding with that child. That is very, very important, especially with the families that are there for weeks and months, and can have long-lasting effects on the relationship. And so all of those things, again, going back to stress and anxiety and depression, all of these settings, music can alleviate and help. And we work right alongside the nurses and the child life specialists at recognizing the families that could benefit the most, the children that could benefit the most, and really who needs us. However, last year we received over 2,700 referrals just in the pediatric unit. So the need is there greatly, more so than we could ever fulfill. So if you're interested in going into the field, now's a really good time. But then in the other medical settings with adults, we are working on pain and pain perception. People do not need music experience or music training to benefit. That's a very important thing to really make clear. Your body is an instrument. You have a heartbeat. You have a pace and a rhythm with which you walk, think, sleep. All of it is a rhythm and a pattern. And what music provides is a space for patients to connect in ways that are nonverbal also. So it could be playing a drum with a therapist. It could be just listening. But what we're seeing is decreased need for pain medicine. increased communication with family members because you're tapping into the memories of the family, and people are sharing songs, and then people are singing together. Singing together as a family used to be something every family did. I mean, for the most part. I remember stories of my grandmother sitting around the piano in her home, and that's just what you did as a family. That doesn't happen anymore. Yes, we have the iPods and easy access to any music in any language all over the world instantaneously. However, I think we're disconnected because of it, too, in certain ways. That's a whole other segment.
Oh, it totally isn't. We're going to have to come back to that on a future show, because I was just reading in a scientific research article that how that actually, the dancing together, so it's surrounded by music, obviously, increases oxytocin output. And oxytocin is that bonding neurotransmitter. So that's that hormone that bonds people together. So not to go back to what you were saying, but it affects the brain. And you're right. We're rhythm from head to toe.
And what neuroscience is proving now is what we've already known as humans from the beginning of time. We've had music. Music is a part of our blood. It's a part of our DNA as humans. And our brain, we just know more now. And we know more every single day in the field of neuroscience. And so it's really proving what we already know and experience. We've just kind of forgotten, or we don't do it as much for whatever reason. But then moving into the areas of special education, music therapy now in California, my practice, McConnell Music Therapy, is a non-public agency with the Department of Education. We work alongside special educators and speech therapists and occupational therapists, working on specific IEP goals for students who are in special education. And so in order, though, to request music therapy, there has to be a significant need. It also must be proven to be required for them to meet their goals. And in some cases that happens, in other cases it doesn't. But the federal law is very clear on that. All children can benefit, absolutely. But to be on the IEP, it's a little bit different eligibility process, but amazing outcomes with those children. It provides them a way to integrate all of the other therapies and all of the progress that they've made, and to actually generalize it into their life. They're working on executive functioning, decision-making, attention and focus, academic skills. All of those things can be addressed through music therapy. And then the area of physical rehabilitation. It's really important to highlight the Center for Biomedical Research in Music. It's located at Colorado State University in Fort Collins. And they have, probably 15 years now or so, have had the advanced education for music therapists to be neurologic music therapists. They've created standardized protocol for evidence-based practice for the field of music therapy. And one of their, I just find this fascinating, and I loved going to the training. The focus on stroke patients and traumatic brain injury and Parkinson's, and the physical rehabilitation that can be used when music therapists are involved. They have a technique called rhythmic auditory stimulation, or RAS, that helps patients develop core strength, balance, gait. The RAS is specifically for gait stability, and it looks at things like stride length, the length that it is between steps, and that's a big deal for people with brain injury. And when the music is on, the steps and the strides become different because of the way music addresses that motor planning part of your brain. Music therapy, music in general, is the one thing where all parts of the brain are activated synchronistically. So everything's going at once. And when one part is damaged, it creates new neural pathways to find its way to the other parts that are strong. And it's fascinating. People who don't have language can sing. People that aren't able to walk literally can step out of their wheelchair and balance and sometimes dance. People that shuffle with Parkinson's, very small steps, can take full strides. And when you see it happen and you're working with a clinical team of experts also and taking data and really communicating clinical findings, it's fabulous. I can't express to you the amount of just wonder and joy that happens in these situations. I'm continually just blessed to even share those experiences with our patients and my staff who is involved with working with the patients as well. It's very rewarding, obviously.
That's awesome. Before we go to commercial break, we're going to go here in just a minute or two, but you had mentioned also that it can lower cortisol levels and things along that line, because that's very important for people to realize too, that the stresses and what that does to the body when too much cortisol is running through it, and yet music can address that.
Yes, and you know what's really important is that it has to be music you like. Right. And I hate to say it's an assumption that we all kind of gloss over, but it's really important. It's music that you like, and that's part of the assessment process in music therapy, is to address that. It is not always new age, airy-fairy music. It is not classical music all the time. It can be loud rap. It can be loud heavy metal. It can be jazz, funk, reggae, blues, singer-songwriter, acoustic. It could be any kind of music that you like that literally gets you moving. That will work. And that's what the music therapy training is really for, to be able to assess those preferences of patients, adapt, use live music in those different genres with those patients. So
that's awesome. That's so awesome. Well, we're getting ready to go to our last break and then into our last segment. And when we come back, maybe you can share with us your favorite story. But this is fascinating. I am just enthralled, and there's so much more information to go over. So we'll definitely have to have you back in the future. But everyone else, get comfortable, get up and move a little bit for a couple of seconds a couple minutes during the break, and join me back on the Brain Lady Speaks radio show.
With her thorough understanding of brain chemistry, Julie Anderson provides you with tools and processes that will change your life in a positive way. Julie uniquely blends science and psychology when she shares her knowledge and information with businesses, entrepreneurs, women's groups, and families to improve workplace morale and productivity, parents creating dynamic relationships with their children, and women achieving more in life and business. Julie Anderson will be right back with Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network.
Hear about the Gaberlunzie bear caught rummaging through a refrigerator in an apartment in Colorado? The tenant heard noises coming from the kitchen and saw a bear with his head in the fridge, looking for anything it could eat. What's a word for food that's unfit for human consumption? Ma wallop. The tenant locked himself in his bedroom and called for help. What's a word for the fear of bears? Ursophobia. We have lots of bears near our Colorado cabin, and we have been told that pepper spray will keep them away. But the idea that it would keep a 500-pound grizzly bear from attacking seems ridiculous to me. I think I'll try the pepper spray on myself and hope the bear doesn't like spicy foods. I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
Imagine what your life would be like if you could master the thoughts in your head that hold you back, the thoughts that prevent you from living the very best version of the life you're here to live, the very best business that you're here to create. I'd like to invite you to join the Art of Personal Mastery, the free online event that starts the 11th of April All you have to do to join is to go to www.theartofpersonalmastery.com, enter your name, your email, click Get Access, and I'll share with you how to join me and 21 leading experts from around the world talking about how to break your bad habits, create powerful new ones, master your mindset and your actions to create the life you're here to live. I'll see you there. www.theartofpersonalmastery.com. I'll see you soon.
Welcome back to Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network. By including the latest scientific research on the brain-personality connection, Julie Brain Lady Anderson provides her clients with the all-important why behind what people do and how they think. The information she shares will help those who hear to accelerate their success in life and business through the discovery of their natural gifts and maximizing their brain power. Here again is your host, Julie Anderson, with Brain Lady Speaks on the Lessons in Joyful Living Radio Network.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the last segment of the Brain Lady Speaks radio show on May 11th here, 2016. We are with Tara McConnell, and she is a music therapy expert extraordinaire. And before we went to break, I thought, well, maybe you could share your one of your outstanding experiences, but you have something special that you want to share, an experience or a story that you'd like to share that's connected with Courage Worldwide. So why don't you share that, and then any last points that you want to hit before we close the show today?
Thank you so much, Julie. Thinking about over 21 years, one experience that stands out is obviously very difficult. There's a few, but really quick, one that specifically stands out was this woman who contacted us, who lives in Truckee, California, and she was caring for her mother with Parkinson's, and her goal was to be able to take a walk in her beautiful neighborhood up in Truckee. And her gait was unsteady, her gait was unstable, and through support with her physical therapist, we supported her with RAS, rhythmic auditory stimulation, and we're able to set her up on different music with different tempos that helped her body naturally just calm into the space where she could take her steps, and she was able to take that walk. And so it's those types of things that, it's cost effective for one. It's easy. It's accessible. Music therapy is not medical in the sense that it's a drug or a treatment where you'd have to go someplace to get it. We see clients in their homes. So those types of stories that really impact quality of life are high on the list. There's so many. I can't go into all, but I really also want to highlight the value of music therapy in trauma recovery. I happen to be the music therapist on staff now at Courage Worldwide. We're a nonprofit organization in Placer County here, rescuing teenage girls, minor victims of sex trafficking. So if you can imagine the level of trauma and abuse, and sometimes their whole lives, that have been affected by this horrific trauma, music therapy has been a place where they can find their voice, and not necessarily their singing voice or writing songs so much as just expressing and connecting with others. Connection, the human connection, and a safe, healthy human connection through music making is incredibly powerful and incredibly healing. When people experience deep levels of trauma, it changes their brain physiologically, and that's a whole nother topic for another show. I think we're lining up our shows here, Julie.
I know. I think you're going to be a recurring guest for a while.
But one of my favorite stories is working with a young girl who's very angry, a teenage girl there out at Courage Worldwide, and she didn't want to have anything to do with our poetry, songwriting session. And, after a while, just being silent was the best music she really needed at that point, and just holding space with her in that moment. Then the music started coming out, the poetry started writing, and within probably 45 minutes, she went from completely not talking to anybody for the past week, extremely angry, extremely upset with, and rightfully so, to someone who wrote this amazing poetry. We put it to music, we recorded it, and then she felt comfortable with me sharing it, singing part of it with her, and sharing it with the group at the home. It was a moment that was extremely healing for her, but also a moment that could not have been done any other way. Music reaches that place in us that is the most healthiest. And when parts of our brain are damaged, in the most extreme cases, whether it's trauma or physical injury or stroke or cancer, music can be the glue that connects the damaged pieces to the healthy pieces. That's and just provide kind of a multivitamin, like a big jump start to the whole brain and reboot, honestly. And it's really that's in the most extreme cases, but then in all of our lives, every single day, anyone can use music to change their own behavior, to decrease anxiety, to decrease depression. Those two things are big ones that go so often undiagnosed and unaddressed in our lives, in our families, in our communities, that we can use music. Create your own new playlist. We get stuck in ruts a lot of times with the music we listen to. Honestly, if it's the same radio station or the same playlist or CD or whatever, branch out. Find something new. Use music to cue your waking up every day, or if you're having trouble during a certain part of the day, create your own new system using music, and your brain will change and help remind you what you need to do. So there's so many stories. But
yeah, no, I love that. I always encourage when I'm talking to my clients, just on a business perspective, that they need to actually set timers in when they're doing, heavy labor intensive in terms of the brain energy expenditure, very labor intensive work on a computer or wherever they're at, to set a timer. And when that timer goes off after, 45 minutes or whatever that you've chosen that to be, that you click on a 3 to 5 minute music, you just get up and you move and you reoxygenate the brain, and it can lift your spirits so much and reduce the stress of that, where you're at in that position. And that's wonderful, the effect that it has on the brain and how you can use it. All of us can use it. We're not just talking about the therapeutic value to premature babies or people going through Alzheimer's or people going through trauma. It's every single one of us. And I love that you highlighted that, because it's an asset that's at our fingertips all the time.
And it's so accessible. It's so accessible.
Exactly. And it's something that we probably don't put enough stock in. You had mentioned, I think somewhere, that pain, that it helps with individuals who are in physical pain.
Yes, it actually blocks the pain perception. So it's kind of like a roadblock. The pain is still there, and the pain, if it's in your foot or wherever it is, it's still there, but it blocks your brain from perceiving it. So it distracts.
That's
and
awesome.
It can distract you from pain. It can distract you from stress. And we all really need to really look at, as a community, as a state, as a nation, on what we're doing about anxiety and depression, no matter what is going on with our communities and your own families. It's a true crisis. And if we can find ways that are easy, that are accessible, try music first. Find what you like and pay attention to how it makes you feel.
That's a key point. Pay attention to,
Yeah.
do some self-evaluation. Pay attention to what
Right.
is it making you feel anxious, because maybe you're thinking it's not, but deep down it is causing anxiety. So, well, we
Right.
are.
Sometimes,
No, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just, Mozart sometimes can make people incredibly anxious.
Yeah.
So don't assume things either.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
All right. Well, we are at the end of our show. I can't believe that this show they all fly by, but this show has gone by very fast. I have so enjoyed having you on the show, Tara. We have known each other for years, and we've always said we needed to connect, and I'm so happy. So thankful that you came on the show today. I think the timing was good. So thank you for being here and for giving myself and the listeners your expertise and the time. I appreciate
you're so
that.
welcome.
Now, I want to make sure that everybody is able to connect with you. So really quick, you have the music therapy. You have McConnell Music Therapy is it's how you can connect on Facebook, correct?
Yes, you can connect with our practice here in Northern California on Facebook, McConnell Music Therapy. Our website, McConnellMusicTherapyServices.com. And then the agencies I mentioned that if you have more interest in learning more about, checksetterfirst.org is a good place to start. You can search music therapy easily there, and also courageworldwide.org. Are two agencies that we work with. But the easiest way is through Facebook, McConnell Music Therapy.
Awesome. Very good. And for everyone else, again, thank you for taking your time, for being with us this hour. And I appreciate you being with me. I honor that. I know that time is valuable. And I hope that this has given you some insight and some great encouragement. Connect with me as well. Send me information, questions, anything you want to know, info at brainladyspeaker.com or info at yourbestmindonline.com. I will also put links, Tara, to some of this information on the Brain Lady Speaks radio show landing page, so people can be able to just click through to your Facebook page and connect with you that way. And everybody...
Also,
go ahead.
I just wanted to mention, if you are looking for a music therapist in your area, you can also reach the American Music Therapy Association, and that is at musictherapy.org. So that's a good resource as well.
Perfect. All right, we are wrapping it up for today. Everybody, get your iPods out, create playlists, new playlists, have fun, and feel good, and dance, and enjoy life. And until next week, have an amazing week. Thank you for sharing this time with us today on the Brain Lady Speaks radio show.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Brain Lady Speaks with Julie Anderson. Julie Brain Lady Anderson is considered to be one of the nation's top experts on the brain-personality connection.